In most major cities throughout the country, it's 70% of African American boys don't graduate with their peers. And there's one study I often cite by Mueller, Stage and McKinsey. They took national longitudinal survey data and demonstrated that African Americans at the 12th grade level are outperformed by whites at the 8th grade level. So that's a pretty drastic difference. That's a performance difference of 4 years. And so there's definitely an academic educational need. But even beyond that, if we don't do well at the most basic levels educationally, we don't do well in life. If you don't graduate from high school, you're much more likely to go to prison. If you don't graduate from high school, you're much less likely to get a good, well-paying position. If you're in prison or you're not getting a good, well-paying position, it's harder for you to take care of a family. It's harder for you to provide for your children, to take care of, provide for, and protect a wife. So you have an erosion of our community based on shortcomings in education. And I always like to say that we could change our condition around in one generation if we address the needs of our youth.
You revolt against the Roman political control while it was the...
Well, hold on.
Macedonian.
That is along with... The big picture here is what it's saying is...
We didn't start off with a whole camp structure. We just asked ourselves, what kind of educational experiences can we give to African American boys that will help them to better appreciate mathematics and science, and also better appreciate their role as young men who are growing into manhood. Well, it's called Sankore Vanguard, and Sankore was the name of one of the learning centers at the University of Timbuktu. During the Middle Ages, there was a university at Timbuktu, and it was really a mainstay. There were two. One was in Timbuktu, and there was one that the Moors established in Spain. And they were really the guardians of academic knowledge through the Dark Ages. And so we named the nonprofit Sankore Institute just in recognition of that period of knowledge and academic prosperity in Africa. And this organization is Sankore Vanguard. When you think of Vanguard, you think of that group that's at the forefront or the cutting edge. And that's how we want these young men to perceive themselves, as being at the forefront and the cutting edge of their community.
Hey, Mom.
We take a group of young men to a rural setting. We use Bradford Woods here. Bradford Woods is a campground, a 2,500-acre campground owned by Indiana University. And for 4 weeks, we have them living out of tents. We wake up every morning and we do a run. We do calisthenics. Every other day, we hike down to the main campus, which is about a 3-mile hike, to do our activities, and we do a 3-mile hike back. It's challenging for a purpose. It's not just to put them through rigors, but every human being, and especially young men, need to know how to handle a challenge, how to persevere when things are against you. It's something that you'll exercise when you get to college. It's something that you exercise when you get to your first position. You'll exercise that skill in your relationships. But to be given a hard task that you think you can't do, but you stick with it and you see your way through it, and you accomplish it. So we give them hard tasks. We give them support in meeting those hard tasks. And it's amazing to see the satisfaction that they have and the pride that they feel within themselves once they've accomplished some of the tasks that we give them. Within that, there's one unit of instruction that's focused on their knowledge of nature. And we couch it all in survivalism. So by the time they're done with us, after 4 weeks, we consider them master survivalists. The young men have learned the skills that they will need to be able to survive in the wild with minimal support. We have college-age young men working with providing guidance and advisement to middle school and high school age young men. We can tell our young men the same things as the parents will tell them. They hear it totally differently because it's not coming from your parent. And so we reinforce the parents' ideas to such a high degree. I had one parent tell me the first time we did this, we had about an hour between the campsite and the place where we had our last banquet, and the parents drove with their sons. And this mother came up to me afterwards. She said, "I've never seen my son so excited about learning." She said the whole hour we were in the car, he kept telling me these new things he had learned. I had to tell them it was overload. I had to tell them to wait and give me a little bit later on.
My favorite part of this is when we learn about Minecraft, Rotten Maze, people like that, our black people, how good they is. And my least favorite is when we gotta wake up early in the morning.
It wasn't really that difficult to run 3 miles, but I wasn't used to it. So now I'm kind of used to it.
So one of the things we stress is brotherhood, and one of the motifs that we use throughout is that when one man succeeds, we all succeed. If one man fails, we all fail. And the reason for that is to help them realize that it's not only okay, but it's required that you rely on one another and support one another in your work. So that way, when they're away from us in the camp, whether it's at school, at university, on their job, they don't try to face the challenges that they have alone, but they turn to those other men who've been through similar challenges with them, and they have a support as they work through those challenges.
183 BC.
We're not organized in a formal sense, not like Junior Nesby, where those, or like the Boy Scouts, where those groups of young men see each other weekly on a regular basis. They're with us and they're with each other for 4 weeks, and then hopefully we'll see them again next summer, but they're gone. So what we really hope to do is give them a life-changing experience in that 4-week period. I was really surprised the first time we did it and impressed by the type of impact we were able to have in such a short period of time.